Welcome to Heat Check. We're going to look at the top 10 highest selling vintage denim items over the last 2 weeks on eBay. This video is sponsored by WeBuyOldJeans.com. You will believe it, this is our only Levi's denim jacket. This one is from the 1950s. Let's take a look. We have the Type 2. A bit faded out. The color's not great. Obviously, you get this little percolation here from that leather patch shrinking. Looks pretty good, all things considered. Like, you know, it is got some dope fade. I'm pretty shocked actually that this one went for what it did, especially having the patch still intact to some degree. Let's take a look at the measurements here. It says size of medium. 38's not bad. You know, I mean, it's not great, but a lot of times you see these even smaller than that, and that's a bummer. But this is nothing we haven't seen before on the list, but after one bid, this one sold for $1,650. We have some dead stock 70s, 80s Levi's. We'll find out in just a second. Look at the size here, if this is correct. I'm assuming this is the stamp size, 36 by 38 for a tall boy. Let's take a look. Obviously, dead stock. We have all of the Flashers, and they look like they're in great condition. Originally, they were $19.50. Quite the appreciation here. Shrink to fit. Yep, they are tagged 36, 38. You can see here this label, the 1501, which is really just 501. That extra digit, or sometimes 2 digits, that was really not even added until the 80s. Before the 80s, you didn't see them tagged like that, so I'm pretty confident this is from the 80s. Let's see if they give us a label. Yeah, there we go. Yep, 1981 is where I would. That's how you would read that tag. Not too bad, and not too bad for a pair from 1981 to go for $17.50. All right, next up, we kind of make a big jump here, but check this one out. We have a Headlight Coverall made from stifle denim material, or stifle material. Let's take a look. Wow, this thing is pretty beat up. Probably came out of an abandoned house is my guess, or a rag house. It says Madhouse Rags. I'm assuming that's a rag house, but look at this. There's the headlight buttons. There is the stifle boot. These are obviously stifle. The material is very popular, and this one is a fascinating piece. Let's take a look at what they tell us here. Rough but rare. Stifle boot mark stamped. Yep. There are 3 headlight buttons remaining to fasten in the front. 1 headlight button on the cuff. So, pretty incredible piece here. You don't see these. I mean, we haven't seen this one on the list at all before. And you don't see them beat up this much make the list. But because of the rarity of this piece, which is probably, you know, as early a headlight piece as you'll probably find out there. I don't know exactly, but I would imagine this is 20s or teens potentially, maybe 30s. I don't really know. That's a little bit outside of my normal lane. But after 16 bids, this one sold for $2,259.87. All right, the craziness with Carhartt continues with this J97 Crimson Carhartt Detroit Jacket. Yes, these are going for crazier and crazier amounts of money. This one looks great, cool fading. The red color obviously is rare. It has some wear, but these are crazy. This is barely vintage, it's like 2001. Yes, and we see this image. This is obviously a rare piece. We get it. But this one sold for $2,500 as the mania continues. So if you think you have a pair of jeans that might end up on this list, we recommend you check out WeBuyOldJeans.com. These guys are the best in the business. They can give you appraisals, they can help you with research, or they can make an offer on your jeans. They offer reasonable prices and great customer service. So we highly recommend our friends over at WeBuyOldJeans.com. Speaking of Headlight is all over this one. We have this Headlight 50s denim railroad shore coat. This thing is beautiful, 4-pocket. Look at the color on this thing. Absolutely gorgeous. There's those like green colored in headlight buttons you would see around this time. The denim looks fantastic, absolutely beautiful. 504 written in there for some reason. Who even knows? Oh, this is probably the name of the person. Who knows? But a cool kind of unique detail about this jacket for sure. Surprisingly good condition. I mean, again, these were made, to work in railroads and heavy machinery, construction, stuff like that. So pretty incredible to see in this condition, and it's pretty incredible price as well. 21 bids later, this one sold for $2,555. All right, next up we have another pair of 501 dead stock Levi's. This is the S type, or the basically the transition period in the late 60s, early 70s. You can tell by that S right above the 501, which was a deal that they were doing just briefly. Exactly what this was indicating, sort of somewhat of controversy, but we've talked about it before. Here is that big E, so we are probably on the inside or the outside of the 1971 period. But dead stock, these are going to be incredibly hard to find. Obviously, you have a little crack on the patch, 2 of them actually. Kind of a bummer. Size is pretty good, not great, but pretty good. 30 by 31, not bad. But brilliant pair of jeans. You get no V-stitch here. You can tell that it's definitely indicating that late 60s, early 70s era. We have that double overlock, or not overlock, but that chain stitch here on the top, not just a single needle thread. Anyways, beautiful piece of Levi's jeans here. You're not going to find them much better than this from this era. This one sold for $3,500. We are really heating up on this week's heat check. All right, next up, a non-Levi's entry. We always love to see it. We have the new old stock Buffalo brand Cox Blodgett dry goods. Let's take a look at this. This is pretty crazy. We've never seen this on the list before. These seem to be like some maybe fairly lightweight, but we have some Buffalo brand. I do not know this brand at all. I imagine it's one of those smaller brands, probably from the teens or 20s. Maybe 30s. I could be wrong. If you know, chime in on the comments and let me know. But yeah, this has got the tag. So this is new old stock. You're gonna have a hard time finding something this clean and in this condition, no matter what brand it is from these eras. Here is that's cool. They actually have a piece of. They're showing a piece of the history. Home of the famous Buffalo brand, Wichita, Kansas. Nice. Super cool piece right here. Let's see if they have this any. Yeah, so 1900s, teens. That's what they estimate they are. So not bad. Beautiful piece right here. I am not surprised that it sold for $3,999. Obviously, a beautiful piece. All right, another pair of Levi's before we get to some really crazy rare stuff. This is probably one of the most expensive overall heat checks that we've had on the denim side for a long time. Here we have the 1940s Big E. Let's take a look. It says World War II, which is always a good sign. Size 32 by 34. Incredible. Look at that. Every garment guaranteed. This is something else. This, I think, somebody got a steal of a deal on this pair. Let's take a look. Yeah, we're looking good. Unbelievable. Unbelievable. Yeah, there's the, let's see, gives us just those pictures. Let's take a look. Shows little wear from an old trunk with a World War II uniform. These smelled of mildew and were soaked in cold water and distilled vinegar. No, do not do this ever. I don't care if it smells like mildew. Just don't do it. In my opinion, just don't do it. Yeah, I just would never do it. Just never, ever, ever, ever do it. If these are in fact World War II era, which I'm not entirely certain I agree with that just yet. Yeah, not entirely certain I believe that. But even if they were just 40s, you still don't want to do that. They weren't the painted. Let's see. Let's take a look. Yeah, let's see. We still have the arcuate. It's not always the case, but 40s would make sense. maybe early 50s. But yeah, don't ever soak them if you're trying to sell them. Just don't do it. Anyway, this one sold for, I think, the great price of $3,999.99. So congratulations, Goose Creek Farm 1. You made some money and someone got a good deal. Then at number 2, we have the 502 XX Big E 1955 original leather patch. Let's take a look. These 502s, the 502 XX. These look like they're in basically dead stock condition. Unbelievable. Beautiful, beautiful piece. Double-sided, so you kind of know what to expect from that. Whoa, look at that patch. Gotta love that leather. Size 44. That's crazy what they got for this. Not crazy, but pretty wild. To see, I mean, something this size doesn't typically go for as much as this did. It's still a beautiful pair, basically dead stock, so I'm a little surprised by it, but not too surprised. Only after one bid. That definitely makes sense considering the size. The size is definitely the issue here. Yeah, if this was in a better size, you'd be seeing, in same condition, you'd be seeing a much higher price. But one bid later, this one sold for $5,000. Incredible. All right, then at number 1, we have the 1940s, 50s, that's what it says, Sweet Ore Denim Shore Coat. Sweet Ore is one of those brands that, kind of a niche brand, but gaining some popularity and demand. I don't really know what the Coke bottle is doing there, but look at that beautiful button. It's a great button. One of the better buttons in the game. This is probably one of the best buttons. Top 3 maybe, in my opinion. Maybe a broken button there. That's kind of a bummer. But again, these do not come to the market very often. Let's see what we got here. Wow. What a great description. Size 20 armpit to armpit. So we're looking at 40 right here. Not too bad. Yeah, you're not going to find these very often. And that's one of the reasons why this one went so high for the number 1 spot. 22 bids later, this one sold for $6,995. Incredible sale, incredibly rare piece. Congratulations to all involved. This one is a worthy number 1 spot.